started out as a patient a long time ago, and that was in our old Williamsburg office. Back then, my English was quite limited, but the way I was greeted at the front desk, the way I was taken care of by the physician, impressed me so much that I thought, oh boy, I would love to work here. When I was ready to leave, I was actually approached and asked, do you have a job at this moment? And I thought, wow, this must be a very, very odd question. Well, I said, no, but I am a nurse. I would love to work here. They gave me the application form, and guess what? The rest is history.
I started at the front desk at the medical tower with my big purple glasses, and worked the front desk, check in and check out for a long time. One day we were seeing patients, and Dr. David Pariser sort of flung the encounter form out for me to catch, and he kept on walking past, and he stopped and he backed up, and of course I had caught the encounter form, and he said, you know, I think you're on the wrong side. And I said, okay. I never thought, never dreamed that I would ever be a clinical person. And so I started to help out more. I started to learn more about patient care other than greeting patients and getting them checked in for their appointments or checking them out and sending them on their way with a nice new prescription to make them better. So I started learning how to room patients and manage prescription refill calls with the providers, and I found this love for patients.
I told Dr. Robert, I said, Dr. Robert, my daughter is in love with your car. It was a 1980s Volvo diesel, and it was a tank. And so about 6 months later, he comes into my office and he says, it just so happens that we're gonna get rid of the Volvo. And if your daughter's still interested in it, I'd like to sell it to her. Well, she was so excited when I told her, and I was like, oh, Dr. Robert, that's so nice. She's been saving her money. How much are you charging? Or how much would you like for it? And he said, how about $1? And so he and Miss Mary came into the office the next week with the title. Miss Mary handed me the sunglass case, and inside of the sunglass case was a $20 bill and a pair of Coach sunglasses. And to this day, my daughter has that $20 bill in her glove compartment because Miss Mary said to only use it if you needed it for a real emergency.
Probably my best story for Dr. David that I have is I was here about 2 weeks, and I was working with Dr. David Pariser in our Suffolk Carrollton office, and we were seeing patients, and he came out of a room and he said, hey, can you see the rest of my patients for the day? I gotta go. And I said, yes sir, let's do it.
Very happy where I am, and I hope to be here for many years, and I hope to end my career here. I want to be just like David and Robert and be here for the long term. It's an excellent practice, it serves the community, and it's great patient care here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm fortunate to be with colleagues that care about patients.
Dr. Harry Pariser and his sons, Dr. David Pariser and Dr. Robert Pariser, gave me a wonderful opportunity, and I'm still here. That was actually back in January of 1984. And I joke and say that I was skinny and both the Pariser doctors had black hair, so something happened to all three of us. Dr. Harry gave me an opportunity that I was never given in life. I wanted to be a doctor, but didn't get the right breaks in life to make that happen.
I came into the door not knowing what my job would be and not knowing it was going to be where I was for 28 years, but I fell in love with my job. I've watched so many wonderful outcomes for patients. I've seen children come in the middle of summer in long sleeves, long pants, hiding their hands, hiding all of their skin, to going through our clinical research studies, finding new medications that really make a difference on their skin, and seeing them come back in short sleeves and short shorts and thoroughly enjoying showing their skin. You see a completely different personality in these children. and adults as well, but the most meaningful to me has been the changes that some of these studies have done for children.
Dermatology to me has always been kind of the family practice of the skin. That's what attracted me to dermatology, is that I can take care of little kids that are 3 months old. I can take care of teenagers. I can take care of the mom, the dad, and the grandparents. So it's this nice age range. You see every walk of life. It's just a wonderful practice.
I was very honored when Dr. David offered me a chance to join the practice, and so here I am. That was in 1999, and I was with the practice for 14 years.
You know, truly like the Pariser family was probably what made the biggest impression on me, was just the support of everybody at a time when, you know, I didn't have any family here locally. The Parisers, you know, always innovative, always on the cutting edge, always looking for the new, latest, greatest. It just made sense for them to kind of start with the first physician extenders in dermatology in the area. Dr. David, I think maybe a year or two after I started, was president of the AAD. And so that kind of got us, even on a bigger scale, kind of brought attention to PAs in dermatology, I think, from his exposure, and you know, he did a lot of speaking, and so that was a great asset, I think, too, for all of us.
The joke is I was born here. Dr. David actually gave my mom a bonus when I was born, so that was kind of my first paycheck, the first down payment. So I grew up in the halls of the medical tower. I remember, you know, mom telling me to be quiet or else Dr. David would know I was there, and that was this big scary thing. When I finished college, I came back here full time. At that point, within like a year or two, I began my dermatology technician training, and now here we are, 2021, and I'm the supervisor.
I learned a lot on how docs operate, how they think, and there was one doc who said, you know, we are here for the patients. That stuck in my head for all these years. No matter what we're dealing with or what's going on, I think the best thing for any of us to know is that we're here for the patients. And I use that every day in my job.
Pariser has come a long way in the 16 years that I've been here. One of the more relevant advancements that we have made is on the electronic side of things. We have moved into electronic health records and electronic forms of communication with our patients. Going forward, I know Pariser is always looking forward to ways to continue those advancements to better communicate and more efficiently communicate with our patients.
It's been a really unique opportunity, kind of a circle of life type situation where I was the trainee and now I'm participating in being clinical faculty and play a role in educating the future dermatologists. So it's been a real honor to have the Parisers serving as such a great mentor and inspiration for me in my practice.
The breast cancer awareness walks that we used to do as a company, as Pariser, and I do remember when several of our staff members were diagnosed, and just how awesome it was to see everybody just come together as a family. This place is definitely a family. It's more than just a place of work. I'm so incredibly happy and privileged and honored to work here at Pariser. And I certainly feel like I'm part of the family.
But nonetheless, the practice has tried to stay at the cutting edge of our specialty, and I assume will continue to do so. A little optimistic to think I'll be around to celebrate the centennial of this practice, but if I am, I'm hoping we can look back on what we're doing today and have a sort of nostalgic chuckle, such as we're having looking back to the 75 years up to this point.
And as much as the practice of medicine has changed over the last 75 years, I should say the first 75 years of this practice, there are some things that haven't. And what hasn't changed at all has been our desire to provide every patient with compassionate, up-to-date medical care. You know, patients come to us often in a dependent position. They're afraid. They need not only to have their physical problem addressed, but they need to make a bond with their physician. Mutual trust of the patient and the physician is something which has never changed, and I hope will never in the next 75 years. So what's the future of this practice? Well, I surely don't know. There's no way I could have predicted what it was going to be 30 years ago. So I think that what we have to do is we have to create the future, not wait for it to create us. And by doing so, we're going to be able to maintain those core values that have not changed in the last 75 years and hopefully will never change in the next 75, and that is that sacred relation between the doctor and the patient.